Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to another severe weather breakdown, and today we're going to be talking about a storm that is going to sweep across most of the US and impact millions of people. And we're also going to be talking about major flooding issues in Missouri, a hurricane, and much more. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with today's outlook, we have a slight risk of severe weather up here in the Northeast, and today we saw some severe thunderstorm watches, severe thunderstorm warnings, and more up here in this area. So good call on the SPC for making a slight risk here, because there was some pretty intense stuff here today. We may even get a tornado here still. The day's not over yet, or even close to over, so you never know. And then we have a slight risk in Missouri, and we did see some severe storms there this morning, but even bigger, we saw some major flooding kind of in the southeastern Missouri region, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And then we have another slight risk out here in the Central Plains that has yet to do anything, but still very well could, so look out in this region. Now let's go and break down our tornado threat for today. We have two different 2% risks. We have one up here in the Northeast, which is where I said there could be a tornado, and then we have a 2% risk and even a 5% risk here in Missouri. A 5% risk is no joke. That's a 5% chance for all of these different counties here. There's probably going to be at least one or two spin-up tornadoes in that region. So look out if you're in central Missouri there. I don't believe we have any population centers there. No, well, Jefferson City, actually. So yeah, Jefferson City, look out. Eastern portions of Kansas City, look out. But yeah, there's your tornado threat. So now we have our damaging wind threat, and we have three different 15% risks and all of our slight risks, and that's what's driving all of these slight risks, is that there's a 15% chance to see wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher. That can damage a lot of stuff. That can knock over trees, unsturdy telephone poles, and much more. And then we have our large hail threat. We've got two different slight risks and then one 5% risk in here. So large hail, if you're in a 15% risk, you have a 15% chance of seeing hail 1 inch or larger. That can probably cause some significant damage, so look out. And then we go into tomorrow's severe weather threat, and this is even more concerning because this is where our giant storm that I was talking about starts to build. So, over here in the Central Plains, we've got a massive marginal risk, a giant marginal risk even, that extends all the way out into the Midwest and into the South even over here. And then we have a slight risk over in the Central Plains. So let's go and break this down. For our tornado threat, we have two different 2% risks of a tornado. We got one right here in the Midwest, and then we got one up here heading up towards the high plains, but also reaches down into the Central Plains. So that's a big threat with this storm. You could very well see a tornado or two. Our damaging wind threat, though, we have a 5% risk of damaging winds over here in the Midwest and the Central Plains, but we have a 15% risk in the Central Plains and even a hatched risk. So, if you are in the yellow, you have a 15% chance of seeing wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher. But if you're in the yellow with the lines, you have that same risk, but then you also have a risk for winds of 75 miles an hour or higher. And that's a 10% chance right there. So if you're in this hatched region here, you have at least a 10% chance of seeing wind gusts of 75 miles an hour or higher tomorrow. That can be very extreme wind gusts, tornado-like winds, hurricane force winds, and more. So southwestern Kansas, man, and also eastern Colorado, look out. And then finally, the hail threat with this storm, we have another hatched risk, actually. This is a 10% chance for hail of 2 inches or larger. And once you consider the fact that that 2-inch hail will be thrown at your house with 75 mile an hour winds potentially, again, just potentially, not saying it's going to happen, but it could, that would be extremely damaging and potentially even more damaging than some weak tornadoes, so look out. And then going into Sunday, this storm moves over to the east here, very much into the Ohio Valley, into the Midwest, even into the south a little bit, kind of in that tri-region area there. So in eastern Illinois, all of Indiana, western Ohio, western Kentucky, extreme northwestern bits of Tennessee, this whole area right here has a slight risk of severe weather on Sunday. Unfortunately, we can't talk about the probabilities just yet, But tomorrow we will be able to, and I might break that down. I'm not sure. I've got a lot of stuff going on this week coming, which, I mean, if you look at my community tab, you know I might not be posting as much this week, but yeah. This could be very bad. And then they even issued a day 4 risk. They usually don't do this. But for Monday, our big storm moves over here all the way into the northeast. Like I was saying, this storm will move across a good portion of the U.S. So yeah, same storm hitting over here as well. Probably see some tornadoes, maybe even some wind gusts of 75 miles an hour higher, and much more. Okay, so for some reason, I could not load up the excessive rainfall outlook. I just couldn't do it. I spent a good 10 minutes on trying to get it to load, and it wouldn't. So here we are on Radar Omega, breaking down your flash flooding risk for today. So basically, we did have a risk up here in the Central Plains of flash flooding. I believe there was like a 15% chance to see that up here today in the Central Plains, High Plains region. But more importantly, if we go here into Kentucky, Tennessee, southeastern Missouri, as well as even extreme southern bits of Illinois, we saw several flash flood warnings and even a couple flash flood emergencies there this morning, as over a foot of rain fell in some areas. That is crazy. If you're in a flash flood warning, you know, take it seriously. Don't be driving around. But if you're in a flash flood emergency, that's where it gets really serious. Like, you need to get to higher ground now. But if you're in one of these normal flash flood warnings, that means you're probably going to get anywhere from like 2 to 5 inches of rain. But if you're in a flash flood emergency, I mean, you could see over a foot, over 15 inches even. It's crazy. So we had a 40% risk of flash flooding in this region today, and we definitely got that. And finally today, here we are on the National Hurricane Center, and I need to get something out of the way. A man is willing to admit when he's wrong, and I was wrong. And I'm admitting to it, so that's good, right? Basically, in a previous video, I said Hurricane Dora over here was going east. I was a buffoon. It's going to the west. I don't know how I made that mistake. I guess I just didn't look as well as I thought I did at where it was going. I'm sorry for anybody in Central America. I probably caused a ruckus there, and I'm not proud of that. But Hurricane Dora is moving west, and we're actually not going to talk about Hurricane Dora yet. We're going to start off with the Atlantic Ocean, mainly for the southeast region of the U.S., which is really the most important point of concern here that I usually focus on, because I don't have many viewers in these other regions, but the southeast, I definitely have some. So, yeah, but anyway, there's no tropical cyclone activity out here right now, but the ocean is so warm, so once there's any storms out here, they'll definitely have a chance to form. So, I'd say probably for the next 3 months, probably just be on lookout for potential, I don't want to guarantee anything, but potential hurricanes, because as soon as a storm starts to bubble up out here, it's going to go nuts, because there's literally record-breaking temperatures out here in the ocean. So let's move on to the Eastern Pacific, where we do have Hurricane Dora moving out west. It is not moving east. I don't know how I got that wrong, but it is moving out west, and it is currently a Category 2 hurricane. Actually, that's a Category 3 hurricane, isn't it? I don't know. 120-mile-an-hour winds, whatever that is. I think that's a low Category 3, but either way, very serious. But then we have another potential tropical cyclone forming out here. I believe this is new. Yeah, it says as of 11 a.m. today, this has an 80% chance of forming in the next 48 hours. I don't know which direction it's going to go, but if it does go east, if it decides to go east, it's very close to southern Mexico, northern and Central America. So, definitely be on the lookout for this thing, because this could cause some serious problems. An 80% chance of forming is usually not issued once it's first been spotted, you know? So, definitely look out. Let's move on to the Central Pacific, aka Hawaii. Hurricane Dora, yes, I know I got it wrong. Get your laughs out of the way. Yeah, it's not looking like it's going to hit Hawaii. It's supposed to go a little bit south of Hawaii, but you could definitely feel some slight effects from the Big Island over here. So you might get a windy day here coming up in about a week. Again, it doesn't look like Hurricane Dora is going to make landfall, but if it does, this thing could be pretty powerful, pretty scary. So be on the lookout, Hawaii, for Hurricane Dora coming up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.